Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching the Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you my answers for the questions inside the end of the year book tag. It is a very short book tag and has only 6 questions. I've dropped all the questions in the description, so don't forget to leave your answers in the comments below because I'd like to know them. So without any further ado, let's get into the questions right away. Question number 1. Are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? There is this one book alone which I started 2 months back and I've not finished it yet, but my goal is to finish it by the end of the year, and it is Empire of the Vampire by J. Christoph. I wanted to finish reading this book last year itself, but because of various reasons I was able to start it this year only, and I've talked about it in my very latest videos also that I want to finish reading this book, especially in my end of the year TBR. Here we follow a world in which the human race has been subjugated by the vampires because the sun has set more than a decade back on this planet, and because of this the vampires have risen and they have made the earth their own empire. There's this group of people who are alone, half vampire and half human beings, and they are the only people who can save the human race from the vampires and also try to bring their empire to an end. The last of that group of people, Gabriel, is the main character of this book, and him trying to safeguard the human race at the same time bring down the vampires is the actual plot of this book. It is the first book inside the grimdark fantasy series, and I should say that I've read only 100 pages of the book and I've enjoyed it so far. I know that it'll take a bit of time for me to read, but I'm sure that if I finish reading it, I'll definitely enjoy it a lot more. I've also been a fan of the writing of this author from the books that I've read by him previously, so this is definitely one book which I've started and want to finish reading by the end of the year. Question number 2. Do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? I particularly don't have any kind of autumnal book which can help me transition from season to season, but there is this one thing alone which I've noticed from the past few months in this year, and it is not just a specific book but a genre, and the genre that I want to talk about is magical realism, because it just feels like in between worlds, and that in between world kind of feeling gives me this transition feeling between seasons also. I've read like a couple of magical realism books in the past months this year, and the two books which just come off the top of my mind are Kafka on the Shore and Before the Coffee Gets Cold, both of which I enjoyed thoroughly. I'm planning to read a lot more, especially by Murakami, in the remaining 2 months of the year and also in 2023. Let's just wait and see how it is going to go. But I cannot say any specific book that can help me transition from autumn into winter, specifically where I am living. So I'll go with magical realism as a genre because I've noticed it helped me transition between seasons in the past few months of the year. Question number 3. Is there a new release you're still waiting for? There is this one book alone which I want to read that is to be released for the rest of the year, and it is 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson, which is the next book inside the Truly Devious series. I read the first 4 books inside the series last year and I completely enjoyed each and every one of them. Especially the first book and fourth books are my ultimate favorites from the 4 books that have been published so far. I don't know whether this is going to be a sequel like the rest of the 2 books inside the Truly Devious trilogy, or it is like a standalone which does not have anything to do with the main series. Anyway, I don't bother, I just want to read this book because I know that I'll enjoy the vibe of the book and also the setup that the author provides. But I'm not sure whether I'll be able to read it by the end of the year itself, because I think it is going to be released on December 27th or so here in India, and I'm not sure whether I'll be buying it right away or not. But that's definitely one book which is to be released in the time for the rest of the year that I'm very much interested in reading. If you've not watched my review for the Truly Devious series, I'll try to link it down in the description so that you can go and check it out. If you've not tried that series, just go forward and try it, especially during this time of the year, because I know that you'll be able to enjoy it completely because it is super atmospheric in its tone and also super brilliant. So 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson is the answer for this question. Question number 4. What are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? As I said before, Empire of the Vampire is the first book which I want to finish reading. So apart from that, I'm going to talk about 2 other books alone. The first one is Cersei by Madeline Miller, which is the retelling of the story of Cersei from the Greek mythology. Because I read the first book by this author, which is the Song of Achilles, in August or July, I don't remember properly right now, but I enjoyed that book completely from top to bottom. Especially the writing of the author and the way in which she wrote the characters of Achilles and Patroclus in that one was brilliant. Because of that, I want to read Cersei, and the main reason behind that is I've heard that Cersei is even better compared to the Song of Achilles, so this is definitely one thing which I want to read by the end of the year. The other one is The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri, and this is also because I read one other book by the author in October, and it is The Interpreter of Maladies. It's a short story collection, and I should say each and every one of those short stories is really good. Especially the writing of this author is just top notch. I said in one of my previous videos also that the thing about this author's writing which I loved a lot was that she showed the beauty of mundane and everyday things in a really wonderful way, and I've not seen that being that good by any other author so far. So since this one is also a full-length novel and not just a short story, I want to finish reading this by the end of the year. Question number 5. Is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? I think there is this one book alone which has that probability, and it is Loveless by Alice Oseman. Of all the Alice Oseman books that I've not read so far, I've heard only really brilliant things about this one, and everyone has said only positive things about it. It's actually kind of a fiction book that has drawn a lot of experience from the author's own life. The author Alice Oseman themselves are asexual and aromantic, and the main character whom we deal with here is also an asexual aromantic person. Personally, I have not read any book that deals with an asexual character before at all, but more than that, I like the writing of this author and how they deal with various aspects of the society as a whole, even though they deal with just this single character's life inside the novel. Because of all these reasons, I think Loveless can still surprise me and also become my most favorite book of the year. Let's just wait and see. The last and final question, question number 6. Have you already started making reading plans for 2023? I should say I have started making plans for 2023 because I know that I'm going to work full time from office alone from now on, that is November itself, and because of this reason I know that there's going to be a lot of change in my reading schedule. So I'm planning not to make any more monthly TBRs in 2023, especially because I know that I'll not be able to stick with the books from my TBR alone, because once I start going to work I'll not be able to just read what I've scheduled myself to read, and I just want to pick up some books from my shelf and read for pleasure alone. So that will not be possible if I just construct a TBR for myself and try to stick with that. And the other thing is that I'm going to concentrate a lot more on series in 2023 compared to standalones. I know that I read a lot more series compared to standalones normally itself, but I'm going to give my focus even more on series in 2023 because there are multiple series which I've started and left in the middle itself and want to continue. Apart from this, I also want to read a bit more memoirs in the next year compared to how much I've read so far in my life. Basically, these are the main 3 things that I've made as ideas or goals for 2023. I'm sure that it will change by the end of the year. Let's just wait and see. But as of now, these are the 3 primary goals that I have for 2023. So yes guys, those are all my answers for the questions inside the end of the year book tag, and don't forget to leave your answers in the comments below because I'd like to know them. And if you did enjoy watching today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.